Hello everyone, good morning to all of you.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Morning, yeah. Today there was a quick meeting we have at 9:30, so that's why I requested you to join at 8:55, so that at sharp 9 we can begin the class. Okay, so we'll continue for half an hour into 9:30. We'll continue, right? Yeah, so that we can use the effective time half an hour. That's good enough. Okay, yeah. So other 1 minute we'll begin the class. So one thing what I request from my side to all of you is, when you have a class, you please try to join as quickly as possible. Okay, so that you can have quicker duration. The time will not get wasted, and it will be useful, right? So that if 10 minutes is remaining, you can have a free time, so that you can switch over to other class. Is that clear to you? Or else what will happen by the time we start class at 9 o'clock? It will become 9:10, 9:15, everyone will come. Okay, and it will become last minute rush. So you all be on time so that we can have a 10 minutes relaxation at the end. Okay, fine. So let us begin with today's class. So what we try to do here is we'll just quickly see what is this chi-square test. We'll understand that. After that, we'll see the theory behind it. Okay, just 1 second. I'll try to, if I forgot it, I'll reconnect the. Here we go. You can see the screen, right? Yes.
Chi-square. Welcome back, folks.
Oh,
This is going to be a short lecture where we introduce you to the chi-square distribution. For starters,
so please everyone, please carefully listen to this so you'll understand what exactly is chi-square distribution. Okay, then we'll discuss.
we denote a chi-square distribution as the capital Greek letter chi to the chi-square distribution. For starters, we denote a chi-square distribution as the capital Greek letter chi squared, followed by a parameter k, depicting the degree.
You can see this, it looks like when we write x square, correct? But when you see this one here, so this is a straight letter here, and we have something like reverse of integral type, right? So this is the Greek letter, which is called chi. That's why the name chi-square. So square we used here, right? So and we are distributing it for the corresponding values. So chi-square distribution is the name we got here for this. You understood why we got this name?
Degrees of freedom. Therefore, we read the following as variable y follows a chi-square distribution with 3
So this is a symbol which we call it as follows.
degrees of freedom.
And what about this 3
All
we
right,
have here, right?
let's get started.
So this 3 is the what we
Very
call it
few events
as
in real life.
freedom, degrees of freedom. So we can have 1 degree freedom, we can have 2 degree freedom, 3 degree freedom, like that. This is the degree of freedom what we can.
Let's get started. Very few events in real life follow such a distribution. In fact, chi-squared is most featured in statistical analysis when doing hypothesis testing and computing confidence intervals. In particular, we most commonly find it when determining the goodness of fit of categorical values. That is why any example we could give you would feel extremely convoluted to anyone not familiar with statistics. All right, now let's explore the graph of the chi-squared distribution. Just by looking at it, you can tell the distribution is not symmetric, but rather asymmetric. Its graph is highly skewed to the left. Furthermore, the values depicted on the x-axis start from 0, rather than a negative number. This, by the way, shows you yet another transformation. Elevating the student's t distribution to the second power gives us the chi-squared, and vice versa. Finding the square root of the chi-squared distribution gives us the student's t. Great. So a convenient feature of the chi-squared distribution is that it also contains a table of known values, just like the normal or student's t distributions. The expected value for any chi-squared distribution is equal to its associated degrees of freedom, k. Its variance is equal to 2 times the degrees of freedom, or simply 2 times k.
If you found this video interesting and want to get
got a brief idea what is this chi-square test, right? Yes or no? Okay. Now let us see here what we are trying to write. So this we wrote like x actually, right? But when you're writing, you should be right. So you should write this one as straight line here, and then followed by the integral type. So that will be your chi-square test. So usually we represent like x. It looks like x, but actually it's a chi. Okay. And now we assume here like v is a random variable. For the v corresponding random variable, so it is the chi-square random variable. Now if you want to define it, so we can define from 1 to r, so zi square, right? Where r we can write here is an integer value which is always greater than or equals to 1. Okay, yeah, and the PDF of that is given in this expression. See, because all these things, chi-square test, the student's t random variable, Cauchy and random variable, Rayleigh random variable, all these are the lifetime findings of the scientists. Okay, so they have enormous usage in terms of applications. So it may feel little bit of difficulty in understanding it initially, but when you see the power of it and you start using it, then you can understand what is happening here. So this is what the distribution what we can have. Okay, and we have seen that, we have seen this here. This is the expectation, right? So expectation, or let us say, okay, mean of it or expectation. So we represent something like gamma. If we use here the variable here, you can use used here gamma type. It can be some variable k. Okay, if the variable k, then we use here something k. If it is r or gamma, whatever the variable we are using, that it is. Which means if the example what we have seen now, just now here, this example, what we have seen, the expectation of that is given by k.
Expected value for any chi-squared distribution is equal to its associated degrees of freedom, k.
So this was given by k, right? So that's what the degree of freedom we have. So the degree of freedom we have is, let us say, rho or whatever. Okay. So this one is variance. Variance is 2 times of the degrees of freedom. So r is the degree of freedom what we have. Okay. So degree of freedom what we can have. So based on that degree of freedom, right? So it's actually like normal distribution, and we are trying to change the degrees of freedom. Then we are trying to analyze the graph, right? So what is it? What is it says here is, let us say someone has did something. Like some analysis they got, whether the analysis what they have did is right or wrong, this chi-square test can able to decide. Okay, based on this we can able to validate that. You say something, the something is valid or not, we don't know. So the validation of that can be carried out by using chi-square test. Let us say you tell like GDP has been falling down or GDP has been increasing. Some statistics they will tell. But how good can you say that it is correct, or how good can you say that it is wrong? So something like that we can able to analyze with using this chi-square test. Okay, so this chi-square test is similar to the student t test. So this one we have a student t test. Okay, there's an interesting story behind this. You can I'll show you that. So it's this student's t test. It's not t test actually, it's called as student t test. What happened, you know, this corresponding scientist actually is working in one of the institute. Okay, that institute is not allowing him to publish any papers on his name, right? So what he did, he created a fake name called students, or let us say student. In the name of student he is submitting it, but actually student is the scientist who is being done with it. Later there is some other scientist which has been done research on this t random variable. both of them have joined together and they have collaborated and did this corresponding functionality. So it became student random variable. I'll show you the story of that. Okay, is that clear to you what I am trying to say? Yeah, let us see now what is happening with students t distribution. Okay, so these things are very interesting and very useful applications.
My name is Abhinandan
This ad
Sarkar,
is a famous
and
ad,
I serve
right?
as the academic director for the program. With 1.5 lakh vacancies.
Yeah.
William
Please listen
Gossett
to
was
this
an English
audio.
statistician who worked for the brewery of Guinness. He developed different methods. Statistician who
So this
worked for the
is the corresponding application for students t-test. Okay.
brewery of Guinness. He developed different methods for the selection of the best yielding varieties of barley, an important ingredient when making beer. Gossett found big samples tedious, so he was trying to develop a way to extract small samples but still come up with meaningful predictions. He was a curious and productive researcher and published a number of papers that are still relevant today. However, due to the Guinness Company policy, he was not allowed to sign the papers with his own name. Therefore, all of his work was under the pen name Student. Later on, a friend of his and a famous statistician, Ronald Fisher, stepping on the findings of Gossett, introduced the t-statistic, and the name that stuck with the corresponding distribution even today is students t. The students t distribution is one of the biggest breakthroughs in statistics, as it allowed inference through small samples with an unknown population variance. This setting can be applied to a big part of statistical problems we face today, and is an important part of this course. Alright, visually, the students t distribution looks much like a normal distribution, but generally has fatter tails. Fatter tails, as you may remember, allows for a higher dispersion of variables, as there is more uncertainty. In the same way that the z-statistic is related to the standard normal distribution, the t-statistic is related to the students t distribution. The formula that allows us to calculate it is t with n-1 degrees of freedom and a significance level of alpha equals the sample mean minus the population mean, divided by the standard error of the sample. As you can see, it is very similar to the z-statistic. After all, this is an approximation of the normal distribution. The last characteristic of the student's t-statistic is that there are degrees of freedom. Usually, for a sample of n, we have n-1 degrees of freedom. So, for a sample of 20 observations, the degrees of freedom are 19. Much like the standard normal distribution table, we also have a student's t-table. Here it is. The rows indicate different degrees of freedom, abbreviated as df, while the columns, common alphas. Please note that after the 30th row, the numbers don't vary that much. Actually, after 30 degrees of freedom, the t-statistic table becomes almost the same as the z-statistic. As the degrees of freedom depend on the sample, in essence, the bigger the sample, the closer we get to the actual numbers. A common rule of thumb is that for a sample containing more than 50 observations, we use the z-table instead of the t-table.
For more videos like this one, please
Almost the same as
Okay, so that's how the name as a student's t random variable, right? Where t is what? The student's t random variable we have, and this t is given by, actually what they have did here is, so you know that z statistics table, right? The normal distribution we have z. Okay, what they have did, if the value of this freedom, what we have r is greater than equals to 1, let us say we collected 20 samples. Okay, if we collect some 20 samples here, you have complete set of, let us say a complete set of 1,000 people we have who have traveled by airlines, right? Out of that 1,000, if we cannot able to interact, so from that set we have collected some 50 samples, let us say 50 samples we have collected. Okay, and now we can analyze this 50 samples by n minus 1. Let us say n equals to 50 here. In this case, we can able to get n minus 1 number of deviations. Okay, so this n minus 1 number of deviations we can have. So which means n minus 1 will lead to 49. So we can have the value of this will be around n minus 1 type. So from that we can understand here where that is called as what? This is your degree of freedom. So this based on this degree of freedom, what they did, instead of we have Z table for normal distribution, right? Z table for normal distribution we have. So what they have did to make it much more accurate. So Z table, if you do, you're going to get like this. You're going to get the values in this manner. Which manner? So this is the actual manner we are going to get. Like bell shape you're going to get. Which means there's no flat curve like this. It's been like this. Okay. Now using this, what they have did, using this Z, they have transformed it to T. Okay. Now the graph became like this, almost like a flat surface. So that's what they are telling, like fat tails they are telling. Which means this graph actually is still sloping down. Instead of that, what variation they got, they made like this. They got like this. Which means almost it's like a constant value after some point of time. Here also, after some point of time, it's almost a constant value. Which means there is a variation only between these two. Okay, we are able to get much more accurate than the Z transformation. Okay, so that's what they try to explain here. How we get this T is what? By taking Z. How they have did by taking Z by square root of V by R. So V, where you are getting from? V is we are getting from chi-square test. Okay, that divided by degrees of freedom R we have taken. Okay, where Z is the normalized Gaussian distribution, right? And whereas V is the chi-square test random variable of order R. Let us say if order R, the value of that will be greater than 1, that we know it. And based on that, we are going to get the PDF function like this. So T of R plus 1 by 2 by pi R into, this is like rho of R by 2, 1 plus T square by R into R plus 1 by 2. So that's what it will be difficult to remember, but there is no other way because the proofs and all is a findings of an author, like let us say findings of the scientist. So if you see this, so this value of this can be infinity, whereas if you get the graphs in this manner, okay, if the value of R is smaller, degree of freedom is smaller, you can have the minimum value of this. So when the degree of freedom is increasing, we are achieving to the closer value. Okay, based on the degree of freedom what we have, we are able to achieve much closer to the graph. So this is how the student's T random variable graph is going to look like. And the mean value of that is 0, which means the mean value of that is 0 means what? So here this mean value mu, this mean value is 0. At center 0 exactly it's starting with. We have a negative infinity side and we have a positive infinity side. So both the sides we have. So the mean value of that will be given by 0. And the variance of that is given by the degree of freedom divided by degree of freedom minus 2. For example, if this variance of this, how can we have here is, you see this one, let us say we have 49 degrees of freedom. So let us say R is 49. So if you want to find the sigma x square, if you want to find, so degrees of freedom 49 divided by this 49 minus 2. So this way you are going to get the degrees of variance. So what is that? What value you are going to get here? Approximately 49 by 47. How much is 49 by 47? So 49 divided by 47. What we get? 1.04 we are going to get. We are going to get around 1.04. So we can have this much of 1.04 is the variance. So sigma, sorry, here the sigma value will be like 1 time. So 1.04 times. In this case, if the degrees of freedom is 49. You take the degrees of freedom as 2, let us say. So 2 by 2 minus 2, right? So it's almost 2 by 0. 2 by 0 is what? So infinite value. The variance can have infinite values. So if you take the smaller value of R, so we get like this. So we get the higher values of R, so variance is almost close to 1. So approximately close to 1. You take somewhere in around 25 you take. So 25 divided by So 25 minus 2. So what is that we are going to get? 25 by 23. 25 divided by 23, we get around 1.08. We're going to get like this. So which means after that, that's what they told. Once you finish the values of that to 30, okay, and 30 and above or 50 and above samples if you collect, so this T characteristic table will behave almost close to like Z characteristic table. Okay, so which means we have a variation from R equals to 1 to up to R equals to 29. We can have a variation in the response. So above that 30, it almost behaves close as Z transformation. So that's what they mean to say. And the applications of these values are used in your statistics for various applications. If the value of this R is less than 2, it is not defined. If the value of R is not less than 2, which means I cannot take only one sample and do it, right? Out of 1000 samples, let us say we have 10 samples only we have. Out of 10 samples, minimum we need to collect 2 samples. Sir, I have collected from 10 one sample. Can I do this? It will not work out. So minimum value of that degree of variation R should be equals to minimum 2. If it is less than 2, it will not function. It will not work. So minimum we need to collect at least 2 samples out of the complete samples. That's what they mean to say. If R value is less than 2, it is not going to be determined. So that's about your student's T random variable. And next is something called a Rayleigh random variable. Before that we have Cauchy random variable. So there is something called Rayleigh random variable. So this Rayleigh random variable is what it's going to use in many places. Let us say you see this one here for an example. An electron beam is focused on a phosphorus screen. Okay, where exactly it is focused on, we can able to tell that by using Rayleigh. You can see, right, Rayleigh white noise, Rayleigh distribution, all that in your, when we talk about signals and noise, when we talk about sound signals, and we talk about noise signals, okay, there is a famous distribution like Rayleigh. Okay, so the findings were from Rayleigh's findings. So he contributed a lot for that, for the sound engineering part. And also we can able to see that a robot positions a chip on a PC board. How exactly the robot is going to position a chip on the PCB board. Okay, we have, let us say, the PCB board here. Now in this portion we need to add a chip. Like let us say this example, you have seen this, right? You are able to do examples on breadboard, correct? So this is your breadboard, let us say. So breadboard, we have a separate division, we have dotted lines around somewhere like this. Now you need to insert a chip, the corresponding IC you have to place. Let us say in this corner you have to place the IC. If you are trying to do with a robot, how exactly that is going to place the chip in the accurate position. Okay, so that's what we can able to analyze by using Rayleigh distribution. And how the astronomer is going to measure the location of a star, that also we can able to, let us say we have the star, astronomer is going to measure the distance between the earth to a star, how exactly is going to measure the distance. So all that, so we can able to do by using Rayleigh distribution. So what exactly this one here is, we are trying to figure out in this case, we have taken the XY plane. Okay, let us say this point is X and this point is Y. Okay, it's very simple. What they are trying to do, I'll tell you. Okay, you just try this one here. So we are in this, let us say, corresponding case, X-axis and Y-axis. This X-axis, and let us say this is your Y-axis. Now what we are trying to do, we are trying to take a point from that. This is the point what we have taken. Let us say that point this can be X and Y. So this corresponding value what you are going to get here is X, and this corresponding value what you are going to get here is Y. Okay, so this is what your distribution normally what we are trying to do till now, right? So this is what we are trying to do. Okay, and now what we are trying to do here is we are having some degrees of freedom. We are changing the degrees of freedom. So based on the degrees of freedom here, you try to understand, if I change the degrees of freedom to this, let us say if I change the degrees of freedom, so this is the degree of freedom I have taken, this is the value of R, let us say. Then from here you can able to get this much of radius. If I have taken the degrees of freedom little more extended, then I can able to get this much, let us say this much, I can able to plot it off. If I still extend the degree of freedom here up to here, then correspondingly I can increase the plot of that. So like that, there is a limit to take up to the degrees of freedom, maximum limit, let us say. So this much is what I can able to cover. So which means you are increasing the radar. You are at some point here. What we are trying to do, if I want to find this, I want to find some person, or you missed your mobile phone. You missed your mobile phone somewhere on the latitude and longitude, right? So if it is close to 10 meters, you can able to figure it out. Not 10 minutes, 10 meters, you can able to figure it out. You have a strong radar which is close to 100 meters, you can able to figure it out. Then which one will be helpful for you? You have freedom, degrees of freedom you have, and there are some radars where you can able to even find out from a distance of, let us say, 1000 kilometers, let us say, or let us say 100 kilometers. The radar can able to sense that corresponding object. Okay, so which means you are increasing the degrees of freedom to have the comfort analyzing. Before we are limiting it, let us say you are close by some 10 meters. You're close by 10 meters, you can able to find out using Wi-Fi, or you can able to find out using Bluetooth, right? So like that you can able to find out your device which you are lost. But if you want to do it beyond it, you need something additional, correct? So that's what here, so they are trying to increase the degrees of freedom. So based on the degrees of freedom, we are able to get the things without any errors. So let us see here. Above the origin is 0 and 0. So all these things are above the origin. So we don't know where the error will occur. The error will occur randomly. Okay, let us say we got the location x and y to be measured. You want to measure the value of x and y. Now what we are doing, we are separating that from the origin 0 and 0 by we are measuring this r1 equals to square root of x square plus y square. So let us say from this example, if the value of this x is 2, the value of y is 3, if you want to measure r value, r equals to the square root of x square plus y square is what they have proposed. So what is square root of x square? Is 4 and y square is 9. So 9 plus 4, how much? 13. So what is square root of 13? We can calculate that much radius we can go up to. That's the degree of freedom what we can have. Okay. So that's what the proposal, the radius of the circle, we can have that circle radius of that kind. So that's about your Rayleigh's proposal on how do we find out or how do we analyze the things. Okay, so here in the interest of applications, we have just discussed this much, but the numericals part is not discussed. So this is not required as of now because they are strong findings. So if it is interested for you, we'll do that at the later point of time. As of now, this much is good enough for you for your exam point of view. Okay, and there is something called as Cauchy random variable. So this Cauchy random variable is what is produced when 1, 0 mean. So we have 1 or we have 0, either 1 or either 0 mean we are able to do that. So this is like Gaussian random variable. Okay, and we are trying to correlate one Gaussian random variable x with other Gaussian random variable y. So we have two dimensional here, x and y. Okay, so this random variable is given by w, and if you want to understand what is this w, it's been equals to a into x by y. So we have the x random variable values and we have y random variable values, and we are taking one more variable called a and we are multiplying that, and the value of a is always greater than or equals to 1. We are finding out the ratio of that x by y, and we are able to get the Cauchy random variable, and this corresponding CDF and PDF are given here for your reference. And based on that, you can see here the PDF graphs are similar to the Gaussian random variables, like bell-shaped curve. Whereas in case of CDF, we are able to get the slight deviations in this. In the negative part, it is looking similar, but whereas in the positive side, it is going to increase the values. Okay, and some more point here on Rayleigh distribution. For the case of Rayleigh distribution, the where Rayleigh distribution is given by R, and that corresponding R should be always less than the region radius. The what R you have taken here, that will be always less than the region, and what they are trying to say here is the x and y values should always belongs to R, which means you see this one here. If this x and y values are somewhere here, but this is the circle R, so we cannot able to find it out. So it should be in between this radius. Okay, and that is given by a simple normal Gaussian distribution type. So like we are going to fxy of xy, dx and dy. But what they are trying to mention, instead of mentioning x and y, only difference of really is what you know. I'll just tell you 1 second. Yeah, before what they have did is they have taken this double integration, like let us say minus infinity to plus infinity, and minus infinity to plus infinity is what they told first initially. So fxy of x comma y dx dy. So this is what in general we want to find. So if you want to narrow down this one, what they have proposed? They proposed like, okay, you take the value of that corresponding 0 to x, whatever these values we have, and 0 to y. Or let us say minus infinity to x and minus infinity to y, whatever. So fxy we are trying to find. We are trying to find the corresponding values. Now what this person has told us, don't take these values, let us limit to the region R. Why you are taking this many limits? No need. Okay, take the limits of this much R. What is that region we have? Take that much only, it's enough, is what they are trying to say. Is that clear to you? So before what we are trying to do, you lost your mobile phone. You are searching the complete globe, or you're searching complete universe to find out your mobile phone. It's taking a lot of time, and we don't know whether it's working fine or not. Next, what you are doing, you are telling that you have traveled to different states in India. So you are searching now only in our country. Now what this really is telling is why you are searching in the globe and country. So which district or which state you are in, which region you are in. You are in the region of, let us say, southern region. You can search in southern region, or you are stating in Karnataka. Okay, you select only that and do it. Why you are doing complete globe, complete country, and limit the regions is what they mean to say. So based on that, you can able to see this here. They are going to limit the corresponding entity for the corresponding region. Okay, but where that region should be always less than R. The region what you are searching here should be less than R. What is the meaning of that? You don't search anything like that region. Let us say if you have a plot like this and you have got the region, let us say this is R. The value of this R should be always less than equals to R, which means you take the value of R, there's no problem, and less than that, no problem. But don't take R values cannot be greater than equals to R. Don't take the value beyond it. Okay, you search in that region and you can able to get that things, is what they mean to say. That's what the finding from the R. How do you find the R? It's very simple calculation they told. R value is the square root of x square plus y square. That's what their contribution. Then with this value you search. With this value you apply the limits and find the corresponding PDF and find the corresponding CDF, is what their proposal. Is that clear to you? So that's the thing. Here we have. Okay, and the corresponding PDF and CDF are given here for your reference. So that's about your Rayleigh type random variable. So these expressions there are no proofs for this as of now. You have to remember them as of, so they are like a standard formulas for you. There is no other way, right? When it is R value is greater than 0, we have something. R value less than 0, we cannot do anything. It is 0. Okay, thank you. Just a minute. Hello. Yeah, thank you. You can please go through the material. Okay, I'll see you in the next class. We have a meeting now, so that's why I told you to come a bit early. Yeah, fine. Thank you all. Please go through that. Anything else, we'll discuss in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.